As usual, my name is Davis Koskei, and there's something that I want us to discuss today concerning the issue of devolution.
Devolution is the best thing that has happened.
People are not interested to see how many vehicles are running in the country. People are interested to see how many roads have you done for them, how many hospitals have you done for them.
If you sit down with a pen and count the cost of the previous system of government, this one has cut costs almost to half.
When we talk about the devolution, we are talking about the county government or devolve county government. But just to break it down, I want us to look at these aspects of devolution at a crossroad. A county is really delivering because the motive behind the establishment of this county government or a devolution at large was actually to ensure that the common mwananchi at the grassroots level get services, quality services, unlike previously where all these services was at national government. So that is the reason as to why the county government was brought into place by the promulgation of the new constitution of 2012. Now you'll agree with me that since the establishment of this devolved unit, that's 10 years ago, billions of shillings has been pumped into these county governments. Billions of shillings since its establishment. But the big question that we want to ask ourselves today is, are counties delivering on their promise? Are we meeting our goal of establishing this county level? And our main goal, as I had earlier mentioned, was to ensure that the services get into the common mwananchi. So the question that we're asking ourselves is, are these counties delivering their promise? Can we today testimonize that because of the establishment of these county units, we've gotten the service that we wanted?
So I think it has really brought one too many good things to the people, closer to the people.
Or devolution losing direction. We've had calls by the parliamentarians and other people saying that maybe we've reached a point whereby we must rethink about the direction of devolution. The questions that has been arising is, do we really need 47 county governments?
Can decide for themselves, can decide their priorities. Unfortunately, our counties are too many.
First, let's look at this aspect of budget absorption. Are funds working for the good of the common mwananchi? Is it? You'll agree with me that every financial year, including the recently read budget by the Cabinet Secretary for National Planning, Budget and National Planning, counties receive large proportion or large allocation, and in fact there's been a continuous call from the national government or from these governors that the national government need to increase the share for the county government. This money is for one reason, meant to improve the road, the health sector, education, agriculture. But here is the problem. Much of this money is either unspent, misused, or even swallowed by the current expenditure, like salaries. You hear a county being allocated around 4 billion, but you're surprised, you realize that a percentage meant for development is quite little, but the larger part of it is either misused through corruption and spent that at the end of the financial year is being returned to the national government, or number two, gathers for the recurrent expenditure. In 2024, it is reported that 10 counties failed to utilize even 70% of their development budget that was meant for real change going back to the national treasury. The question is why? It is the issue of bureaucracy, corruption, and lack of planning. Those are the three reasons as to why you realize that counties failed to utilize even 70% of their money to improve those facilities that I've already mentioned. So there's a problem on the issue of budget absorption. Number two is the stall projects, or what these people call white elephant projects. When we talk about the stall or ghost projects, you've probably seen a dispensary with no staff. Remember, one of the sectors that had been devolved and it is really suffering is the health sector. Or even a classroom with no roof. At times there are roof, yes, but when you look at the state, the general state, it's pathetic. Or even a borehole that dried up because it was, or even before it was used. These are not just about the failed project, in my own opinion, but rather it is a broken promise. These are the promises that are broken. You promise Mwananchi that when I assume office, you will not be able to lack water. But yes, there's a ball that has been dried up even before it benefit that common Mwananchi you promised when you were seeking for votes. So that's where the problem is. Today as we speak, many projects are launched with ribbon cutting ceremonies and even media coverage. But months later, they remain stalled.
Tukuomba gavana wetu hizi projects zimaliziwe, ndio hata wananchi wanapokuja hapa public participation kuja kupitisha vitu izionekane ile kitu wamekuja kufanya, isikuwe ni kuja tu tunakuja kukaa na hakuna kitu inafanywa.
Tumezingatia miradi ambaye ni ya zamani, hatujaweka miradi yoyote mpya kwa sababu miradi nyingi ilistall. Sasa imebidi tumalizie zile miradi za zamani ili zikiisha ndio tuanze mengine mapya.
These are not just the normal routine that we've seen, but people tend to question why this happened. And the first question that that comes to their mind is, did we have a problem with the tender? What we call tender cartels? Or does it mean that the budget that was meant for this project was inflated? Or there was zero follow-up by those who have the responsibility of following up these projects? So why? Is it tender cartels? Is it inflated budgets? Or there were no follow-up at all to ensure that these projects reaches its completion for the benefit of the common Mwananchi? So there's a huge problem when it comes to stall projects or costly projects in the county government. It is the other day when the governor was in Gishu, Jonathan B. was complaining that the stall project, including the Siwa level 4 or level 5 hospital, which has stagnated. What he said is that this is not my project. It was for the previous government led by the current Senator Mandago. So there were no follow-up. In that case, there were no follow-up. Or the budget was very inflated, and that's why the current governor is not able to ensure that this project is complete. So that's another problem that really proves that devolution is at the crossroad. We are not reaping what we had intended to achieve by the introduction of this devolution, or rather these devolved units.
The devolved counties inherited a very huge number of national government staff.
Then number 3, there's this issue of MCA versus the grassroots. In my own opinion, there's a huge gap between those who are elected to oversee the implementation of the projects on the behalf of common mwananchi, the oversight, I'm talking of MCA, and those people who are at the grassroots level. And here I'll talk of 2 things. The key role of an MCA is supposed to be people's voice, to represent the views of the people at the county assembly. It provides a link, or rather a bridge, between the people and the county assembly, which is in charge of 3 key roles. And number 1 is oversight, number 2 is legislation, and number 3 is to represent the people's voice. But on the ground, many citizens say they only see them during campaigns. What does it mean? That these people, they don't know what they're supposed to do. You only see them when the president is around, for example, deputy president, the governor. But beyond that, you won't see them until the second campaign period. Number 2, let's talk about word bursaries. Main challenge that many people have complained about is that the word bursaries have been politicized. You are given based on who you are, where you come from, who did you voted for during the previous election. Say that there is no fairness at all when it comes to issuance of these bursaries. There's no public participation. And if they are there, because sometimes we hear their public participation, but they are being done in a rush. And what still is that some local don't even know where the chief's office is, especially in those remote areas. Chief's office are located in big centers where people from remote area cannot access or is not even able to travel to that office. That is where the failure comes in, between the linkage between the 2 people. Now, the last thing, the last thing I want to speak about is the success stories and the hope of devolution. A Swahili man said, kilicho na kibaya hakikosi kizuri. At this point, I want us to be a bit fair. We've complained that, or the first 3 points, as highlighted, prove that indeed the county government is at the crossroad. We are not getting what we intended to get. But to be fair, you will agree with me that not all counties are worse or underperforming or are failing. Take an example, counties like Murang'a, Makueni, and Kakamega, just to mention a few, have real progress when you see them. For example, in LT sectors, or the sectors like LT care, water supply, and citizen engagement, you realize that these 3 counties have done a commendable job to ensure that the real common mwananchi gets the benefit or the maximum benefit out of this devolution. So these are examples that remind us that devolution still works. When leadership is honest and citizens are involved, then we see the real benefits of devolution. So devolution still work only when the leadership is honest. As I conclude, this is my appeal to each and every viewer that we still have something to do, despite the fact that we've complained, but I believe that we have something to do. What is it? Let's stop being passive. The only duty for me and for you is to be active. How do you be active? Attend public participation whenever they're called. Demand for accountability from these leaders we've elected. Ask this question, where did the money go? Let's use social media platforms to ensure that we bring these leaders, or rather we seek transparency and accountability from these leaders we've elected. Why am I saying so? Because if we don't speak, bad leaders will still keep failing us and blaming the system. So it is our responsibility, good people, that we must speak. We must ensure that these leaders must be responsible for the promises that they've given us. We've given them the duty. They came to us with the good CVs telling us that they are able to do that. We've given them the opportunity. Let them serve us. There's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. Remember, devolution was meant to bring power close to us, we people. But power means nothing without participation. Is devolution failing us, or we are failing devolution? Just decide.